then they put another questions like this modern education does not teach morality. This is the only the religious education that teach the morality, which is the need that in science tells you what is possible. Science doesn't tell you then should you do or not. I mean, so there is that debate. They're saying that the morality, and then when our girls go to the modern education, the universities, and then they will lose that one. Now, how do you see it?
Well, yes, in a sense they are right, because the standards of morality, standards of chastity, ethics, I mean, all these are different from society to society, and it's not between West and East, but I think even within the Islamic world, if you travel to different countries, they have different ideas about modesty, about haya. So that is very cultural. But as far as education is concerned, I think that's a different matter. Because if you look at the Quranic verse, the first revealed verse, Iqra bismi rabbika allazi khalaq, the Quran starts with Iqra, read. And what's important is that two things are mentioned in that verse. Allama al-insana bil qalam wa allama al-insana ma lam ya'lam. Qalam, a pen, is a type of technology of education. So that the importance of the technology of education is important there, especially in a society which was oral culture. Mention of pen in that society is very important. So that means that education or knowledge is created with the technology, and that technology promotes that knowledge. One thing, and second is Allama al-insana ma lam ya'lam. It's always, education is always from known to unknown. So which means that we should all the time be exploring new avenues of knowledge. Which if you look at the Quran, it's always saying that you look at the natural laws, you look at the way the whole thing has been created. So all these things speak of morality on a higher level, not on a morality only with the male and female relationship, but relationship between humans, relationship between human and nature, relationship between human and God. So all these are actually different aspects of morality. But in cultures, oftentimes the morality becomes a very narrow meaning relationship of between the sexes. So I think that fear is all right because of that focus, but otherwise the new avenues of morality have been opened, and the Western education does not disregard them. And about the Western education, although they do not emphasize, but all these moral values are based in their Christian ethics or the Christian background, which I think is common to all religions, because we believe that they are Ahlul Kitab also.
Dr. Saab, then when we make education or knowledge as a kind of possessive words, for example, it's my knowledge, it's your knowledge, it's his knowledge, it's their knowledge, it's not ours, it's their education, it's not our education, means can we justify that? Means most of the people that mean intellectual, they're saying that knowledge is human heritage. Means for example, from Greek to then Muslim adopted, then Muslim develop, and then Hindus taken. And how do you see that one? Can we say that really education of theirs, ours?
Well,
and then further making it, and then the gender issues bringing into it.
Yeah, I think maybe you are referring to this movement of Islamization of education. Well, I think in their intent, when they started, Islamization of education was actually a counter modernity or counter colonialism project, because what happened with colonialism especially, that they did differentiate between people, races and cultures, and saying that the Western culture is superior and other cultures are not. And because of they also said that the Western culture is higher and the other cultures are not compatible. So all these arguments were there to actually to promote their colonialism, and that type of argument continues in the fundamentalist groups among the Western, and also sometimes media, and also whenever there is a propaganda. So because of that, Islamization of education started with saying that even the academic world in the West, although they say objective, although they say it's scientific, but they are also value based. So if that is so, then Islamic education must also be value based. But they started with that, and they also devised some curricula and some books, but they could not really make a sufficient effort to prove that Islamic education value based is really different from the education, scientific education. Subjectivity is still recognized in the Western education and Western philosophy. Completely or purely objective society, which was subjective objective values, which were talked about in 19th century, are no longer relevant. But I think the Islamization of education or Islamization of knowledge particularly failed because they could not prove, they could not develop curricula and education and also the books, but it also failed because it isolated Muslims from the other world, and that was even the Islamic movements thought that it was dangerous for the Muslims.
Dr. Saab, then when we come back to this girls' education issue, means when we, for example, talk about that how many madrasas are there where girls go, and then how many common schools we have. I mean, there are two issues. One is that how to take out girls from home, and
rightly pointed out the complexity of the problem. Firstly, there are two levels in that. Firstly, the parents, the recent studies have also shown, the parents who are speaking about girls' education, they are not bringing the issue whether Islam allows them or forbids them. It's the cultural problems, economic problems, and the strategic problems. For instance, lack of transportation, because of lack of schools, and all these. Or also that if the girl is going to the school,
no boundary wall.
Yeah. So all these issues are not really the religious or Islamic issues. But what it comes is that when these issues are mentioned, so those people who are already opposed to this kind of education, they turn it into a religious issue, and they bring in all the religious arguments. So I think we have to make distinction between them, and the studies show that majority of the wide majority of the parents are in favor of girls' education. Now, second issue is that the education of girls is not of that quality which we expect. Okay. Now, that is not a problem for the girls' education only. That's a problem for education in general, and that is the problem not only for poor or government schools, or who do not have much funds, but even for the English medium and the highly modernized schools, and that is a problem of how we visualize education, how we visualize knowledge, and how we visualize our future. And that is a big problem in Pakistan. It's not unlike other countries. We never plan for long, or even if we plan for long, we always revise it every year. So I think those are different problems. And you are very, very, very right that our education, our curricula, our schools, colleges are not really delivering what they should deliver.